In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to have a relaxed bow hand. So if you've already watched my bow hold tutorial 1, which I'll link to in the description, you may have wondered how to relax your hand when I mentioned that one of the most important things when bowing is to have a relaxed hand. So this may seem counterintuitive if you've already tried to pick up the bow and found it to be a pretty tense thing to do. Not everybody struggles with this. For some people it comes very naturally to have a relaxed hand, but that's often not the case, especially when people are used to using their hands in their day-to-day life for work perhaps, and maybe their hands already have tension. So perhaps if you're learning as an adult, this will be a bigger deal for you than it would be, say, if a child was learning, where they haven't got so much tension accumulated in the hands yet. So for them it's more natural to be able to keep the hands relaxed, and maybe they wouldn't even tense them in the first place. So here we go. I'll just run through how I hold my bow really quickly, just in case yours looks entirely different, because the dynamics of the bow will be discussed in this. So we've got the pinky finger on top of the bow here, and it should be standing up straight with a right angle in the joint. Can you see there's a right angle between this joint and this joint? Okay, and then the thumb should be bent and on its side. There you go, like that. And then these fingers are resting on the side, and this one here is wrapped around the stick. Okay, like that. So the stick sits between the first and second joints of this finger, and you should be able to see that from this direction. Okay, so we've got our bow hold in place, and the first thing I'm going to do is talk about how the bow functions in a metaphorical way, because this is what unlocked it for me when I was struggling with this issue. So imagine when you're holding a bow, you're holding a paintbrush. So if you've ever painted before, I'm just showing you all the different angles of how I'm holding the bow, because it might help some people whilst I'm talking. If you've ever painted before, then you'll understand that holding a paintbrush should be you should have a very gentle grip, because you want to get the most beautiful stroke you can. So if you hold your paintbrush like, let's get an imaginary paintbrush for the purpose. Here we go. My paintbrush. If you hold your paintbrush like this, imagine what your painting is going to be like, okay? But if you hold it like this, really light and relaxed, okay? You're going to get a more beautiful brush stroke. So we think about the way you hold the bow in the same way that you would hold a paintbrush if you were painting, okay? And if you've never painted before, then perhaps now's the time to give it a try so you can understand what I mean, but I'm sure you do. Okay, so that is the level of grip that you should have on the bow. It shouldn't be a tense grip at all. It should be a very relaxed grip. And if you are tensing your hand, perhaps it's because you're worried that you'll drop it. So maybe you should review how to hold the bow again in case you haven't got the dynamics right. Okay, so the other element to consider about when you're bowing is, are you breathing? I talk about this quite a lot, because often the number one reason for tension in the body is that we're not breathing. Okay, so what happens when we don't breathe? We don't send oxygen to our muscles, and in some way the body starts to freak out, and we're going to tense up from that as well. So make sure that you're breathing. The kind of breathing that you do really matters. So I recommend yogic breathing. If you've ever done yoga, then it's the deep belly breathing that we do from the diaphragm. Same for singing, okay? So we want to really be connected with our breath when we're playing, because that helps keep the body relaxed, because we can focus on the breath when we start to feel nervous or any tension coming up. And often tension comes from thoughts, especially intrusive thoughts like, oh, you're going to mess up this bit in a minute because it's difficult. Now, when I have a thought like that, I take a breath like this. Or I just simply return my attention to my breathing. and focus on that. And then the body itself will naturally step into a relaxed state because we're breathing in a way that activates the, I believe it's called the parasympathetic nervous system. There are two nervous systems in the body. One of them is the one that we use in fight or flight mode, and the other one is the one that we use when we're in a relaxed state, and I think it's parasympathetic. I will check that, and if I'm wrong then I'll correct this with some subtitles. But when we breathe in a shallow way, then we're activating that fight or flight response, but when we breathe in a deep way, then we can override that. So that's pretty much the number one reason why I tend to tense up. It will be to do with my mind. One of the most important things for me has been learning how to let go of my mind so that I can play in a state of flow. I do have a video about stepping into the flow state as well. I'll try to link that below too. Okay, you may have pre-existing hand tension in your hand that you need to remove, okay? So I have a video on hand massages for musicians. I will link that below, but you should really check your hands. Just gently press all of the joints in the knuckles. Between the thumb and the index finger in particular, it gets a lot of work when doing the bow, this muscle here. So for me, this one is a big one for me to massage if I'm playing a lot, and around here as well. And also you should write the alphabet or any words or any language you like, it doesn't matter, with your wrist regularly in order to make sure that the joints are supple and healthy. Okay, so if you want to bend back the fingers like this and stretch between the fingers as well and massage in there. So I like to use, when I'm massaging my hands, I like to use a, where is it? Just bear with me. Yeah, here we go. These are Tiger Balm, which are products that I buy in Thailand, but you can also buy them in all around the world. The red one is warming, and that's for using to massage your hands and arms before you play. And this one here is cooling, which is good for after, but only after. Please note this one does make you feel very cold and this one very, very hot. So if you're a little sensitive to strong smells and things that sort of tingle on your skin, then just take a warning. It might be a bit much for you, so maybe try it first. But I will link to where you can buy these in the description because they make all the difference for me. So this one, the red one, is to warm before you play, and this one after. Okay, so if you manage to get a massage and a stretching routine in for your hands for a long time and release some of the tension in the hand, it's going to be a lot easier for you to understand how to relax. So another, again, going back to and sort of supportive activities that you can do to help yourself learn how to relax the body. Yoga is super key, okay? So for me, I really struggled with physical tension to the point where I almost had to stop playing the violin. If you've been following my channel for a while, then you'll already know this, but it's something that inspired me to start this channel because I want to share how I managed to overcome that. So yoga was really critical for me to learn how to relax my body and introduce flexibility both into my mind and into my body, and it came through in my playing a lot because it helped me to learn how to step into that flow state which seemed inaccessible for me before. So now when I'm playing and I notice tension in my hand, all I have to do is loosen the grip slightly. I just loosen the grip as though I think about my paintbrush, and then it brings me back. And okay, what I'm going to do now is a comparison between the sound of the bow when my hands are tense and the sound of the bow when my hands are relaxed. Okay, let's do that. So first of all, I'm going to tense my hand. Okay, rigid. Okay, this is with a tense hand. Tense my hand. I'm just going to do D major scale. Okay, it's all right, but we can make it nicer with a relaxed hand. Relax my fingers. So it just takes away a little bit of that kind of like intensity and makes it gentler, which is just nicer to listen to. All right, if you've got this far, thank you for watching. I hope some of these tips were useful to you, and if you have any more questions about how to relax the hand, feel free to ask in the comments and maybe I'll make a video, or you can contact me on theviolincoach@gmail.com to book a private one-to-one tutorial.